So we are going to wait here for a second. Let me see if I can double check on my phone that we're live. If I can find YouTube. There we go. On my phone. I don't see anybody in the chat. So if you can hear me, and if you're watching, say hello, say good morning, something, so that I know it's working, because I'm not seeing it on my YouTube. Oh, there we go. Hello. Hello, everyone. I think there was just a delay. Welcome to this live episode of the Mars Game Podcast. Good morning, everyone. So fun fact, I had filmed an entire podcast during Christmas break, and it won't work. It won't upload, nothing. So I decided to pop on live today and share kind of my thoughts of, I guess, my knitting for I don't want to say knitting goals, because it's not really goals, but I guess more of my trends going into 2024, what I'm going to knit for myself personally. I've spent the last couple years truly knitting primarily shop samples, and not a lot of me personal items for me to wear. And I really want to focus on 2024 knitting things that I want to wear, and that fit in my wardrobe. I'm really personally focusing on honing in on my style and my wardrobe and kind of creating more of a capsule wardrobe, not necessarily like minimalism type stuff, although we are purging so much stuff right now. It's crazy how when you live in a house I guess we've been in the house for 7 years now, 6 years, 7 years. Anyway, you build up a lot of stuff in your house. And so just getting rid of stuff we don't need. And so I thought I would share that with you guys. So grab yourself a cup of coffee. I was lucky enough to receive an Ember mug for Christmas, and it's amazing. If you don't know what an Ember mug is, it keeps your coffee, it's like electronic, and it keeps your coffee at whatever degree temperature that you choose. So I've discovered I like my coffee at about 120 degrees. Apparently my mom and sister like it like 145, which is way too hot for me, but to each their own. So now I don't have to warm up my coffee every 30 minutes to an hour, because it stays the perfect drinking temperature. I think the battery on it lasts for like 90 minutes or something before you have to recharge it. So it's really awesome. So I'm not going to share like finished objects or anything like that. That'll be a regular episode of the podcast, which will be happening next week. I have scheduled when podcasts are being filmed and all that stuff. So I'm really hoping to have a nice organized start to next year. So yes, welcome everyone. Happy New Year's Eve. And I guess technically, is it New Year's yet in Australia? It will be soon. So Happy New Year if you're anyone from Australia, or if you're watching later, it's already the New Year. So Happy New Year. So I do want to share one little splurge that I got over the holidays and show you guys. I got the Les Garçons holiday box, and I'm loving it, you guys. So fun. So there's also a pattern, and I plan on knitting the pattern. It's like a scarf. The pattern actually is available now on Ravelry. I believe it's called the Frozen Forest, and it's super fun. really great pattern for just like a scarf. I know several other ladies in the shop that got the box are knitting the scarf for either a son or husband. And then a couple ladies yesterday just grabbed the pattern because they were going to knit it for a significant other or whomever in their life. What else? So my knitting. Oh, by the way, I'm going to also, if you guys have questions at the end, you can put them in the comments and I'll try to answer them at the end. So hello, everyone. Let me just scroll through the comments and see who's on. Let's see. Kimberly. Hey, Kimberly. Cassandra. Laura. Good morning, Laura. I guess, yeah, it's still morning over there. Hello, Her Dazzling Creations. Hello, hello. Okay, so my style has evolved over the years a little bit, but at its core, I kind of like lost my personal sense of style a few years ago, and it kind of just got all, but I'm really honing back in on my personal style, which is, I was trying to figure out how to describe it the other day when I filmed the podcast originally, and that didn't work out, but it's a mix of, I'll say like a timeless kind of style with a little bit of edge and very much neutral. I love a good neutral. I do. I like pops of color here and there for sure, don't get me wrong, but I adore neutrals. I love being able to mix and match my wardrobe, and I like just those awesome staple basic type things. So for me, my daily uniform is basically a nice pair of denim jeans or good trouser slacks. I love a good trouser. Either a button-up shirt. I really love a button-up shirt. Or if I'm going more casual, like a nice sweatshirt and then like a jacket, or a tank top and a jacket, things like that. And then I've always for forever brought in some edginess or some fun and funkiness with my shoes, whether that be pops of color in my shoes or just funky heels, things like that. So that's kind of my style in a nutshell. And like I said, I'd kind of lost it a couple years ago, but I'm in the process of really bringing it back and focusing on that. And then I want, pause. So part of my other resolution, I don't really do like New Year's resolutions, but kind of a resolution is to incorporate more natural fibers into my life, not just in the knitting, but staying away from polyesters, plastic products, which I already do a lot, but I've noticed over the past few years with like the fast fashion and everything else that kind of crept into my wardrobe, there's just a lot more questionable fabrics that I don't want in my life. So my goal is this year to have more cottons, silks, linens, bamboos, even, of course, wool, good quality wool. I think I know where I can find that. But just more natural fibers in my life, whether that be in our home decor, throw pillows, blankets, things like that. And then, of course, in my personal clothing as well. It's not going to be perfect. And I'm not saying you have to be perfect because I'm not perfect. That's for sure. But just focusing on that as I'm going into buying any new clothes for this year, coming year, and, what I get rid of and vice versa. Natural clothing lasts lots longer if you take care of it well. So, and being in the knitting world, I'm definitely more of a slow fashion kind of person versus fast fashion. And yeah, I think you should have good quality knitwear, good quality clothing in general. So that's kind of my focus. So that being said, I want to make sure that I have knitwear in my wardrobe that fits my style and that's knit in colors that I will actually wear more than once or more than just like a one special occasion. So for me, that is, you are going to see on this channel a little more beige, not just beige, but more neutral colors. So for me, that's going to be some beige, some taupes, certain shades of gray. I also want to knit myself a couple, and I do say a couple black sweaters, like jet black sweaters. So you'll see that. Navy blue, certain shades of blue, and then a few pops of colors. I'm kind of, okay, I saw on, I guess it was Pantone, the color of the year for this coming year, they're calling it peach fuzz, which sounds kind of weird, but I also like the idea of incorporating like a warm tone that can mix and match, maybe like kind of a beige that goes on that peachy side, or maybe a terracotta kind of color brown. So kind of playing around with those kind of more warm tones, especially for the summer, I think would be really, really nice. Like I said, some beige. I also really love this color. It's not really white. It's not really gray. It's not showing up on camera. I'm calling it like a putty color. Sandnes Garn has a colorway called putty. I know Knit for Olive has a colorway called putty, and they're all kind of this gray, not gray, stone kind of color. And I'm really liking that as well. So incorporating some of that into my wardrobe as well. So knitted items, I went through, and I believe anyone can see it on my Ravelry. I'm going to see if I can pull it up. But I went through my Ravelry and I created a bundle under my favorites. And it's called Sharon's Style, I think. Yeah. And so I'm pretty sure you can all see it as well. But I went through and really flagged favorites of items that I want to wear. And this is not what I'm going to actually like knit all next year, but it's just kind of a starting point of inspiration. So you'll notice there's a lot, if you go on there, there's a lot of petite knit. There's a lot of my favorite things, knitwear. I definitely for the summer want to knit, and I showed it on our IG live the other day, the T #1 from my favorite things. I think that for the summer is just going to be super awesome. Oh no, I lost it. Can't stand it. So knitting personally, I'm not saying I won't knit some shop samples of Stephen West and all that kind of stuff, but my personal style knitting is going to mostly come from this list or from other things that are kind of similar in that vein. Like I want to knit another Thea top. That is a great top that I knit, I think now 2 years ago, and I want to knit it in another color. I have it in a pretty seafoam color, and I will still wear that seafoam color. Like that's a great color, but I also love a more basic knit. Another one that I have on here is the Mio Mighty, and I knit that in black, and I love it. And now I want one in a lighter color for summery, springy time. You know, so just some more basics that I can pull from my wardrobe for both the wintertime and then because it is super hot here, more in the more 3-season wear or more breathable type fabrics. So for me, I'm going to be knitting with Lenny from Sandnes Garn, either the regular, the Lenny, the 10 Len. I'm actually on the hunt for a silk that's not so drapey, saggy. So if you have any suggestions on some more natural warm weather fibers that I could personally investigate and then potentially bring into the shop, that would be great. I'd love like a silk linen blend. I do have a cotton linen blend. I think it's cotton linen. Maybe it's cotton linen silk. I have a new yarn that'll be coming for sure. But because we are in Texas, or at least I'm in Texas, those cotton linens like Mojave is great. Lenny and Tenlin is great for our weather. Even Dapple with a blend of wool cotton is great. And so I'm just looking for some really good quality something. And I'd like something with some silk in it. So you have that little bit of breathability, but maybe not 100% silk. So looking into some of those things that I could potentially use for some of my personal knitting. And then if it's great stuff, then bring it into the shop as well. What else? So my Christmas cast on to myself was to cast on the Lakes pullover by Ozetta, which is that. Again, just basically a great basic sweatshirt. It's got saddle shoulders, which really fit me well, and I love the look. And I have this beautiful yarn. Ta-da! So I went ahead and did the collar last night, and I've got one sleeve finished, and I'm working on the body again. So this is going to be so good, you guys. Perfect. Right up my alley. Gorgeous fit, gorgeous yarn. And I'm not sharing what the yarn is yet, but I should be able to announce the yarn probably into January, maybe, because it's a brand that we're going to be stocking. It's amazing. It's 100% Rambouillet. Is it 100% Rambouillet? Yeah, it's 100% Rambouillet. It's a non-superwash yarn. It's so good. It's so soft, but yet at the same time, it has great stitch definition. And Josh, every time he touches it, he's like, it's so nice. It's so sturdy. I'm like, sturdy is not the word I would use to describe it, but at the same time, he's totally right, because it's like, just this piece is going to be in my wardrobe for forever because it's going to last. Yeah. And it's next to skin soft. It's so good. So good. So this will be coming to the shop probably February is my guess. Yeah, aren't the shoulders great? I just love the detailing. So saddle shoulders, I'm not showing you very well, but see, it's totally like seamless all the way down to here. It's just great. So again, pattern is the Lakes pullover by Ozetta Haley Smiley. And yeah, the yarn is a mystery for now, but I will tell you guys soon once we have everything confirmed with the supplier and the dyer. It is a hand-dyed yarn, which is awesome. So nice. So that being said, so that was my first new cast on, I'll say, in accordance with what I want to knit for myself personally. And that also gave me a little bit of freedom to actually rip out some things that I'm not happy with knitting. So that's also kind of my thing going into next year is knit what makes me happy. Whether that's something that's super trendy or an old pattern, it doesn't really matter. Knit what makes me happy. And if I really don't like knitting it, rip it out. Same goes with yarn. If I'm knitting a yarn and I'm like, I can't stand this yarn, I'm going to rip it out. So that being said, I am ripping out. I've waited because I'm like, well, maybe I'll finish it. Maybe I won't. I'm going to rip out my MCal yarn, and part of that yarn is going to be repurposed into my Nordiska sweater, which I'm knitting, which I love. And I'm also actually going to rip out my bolt sweater. I'm undetermined yet what the yarn for the bolt sweater is. My first gut reaction was to do the contrast sweater by Petite Knit. I'll pull this up here. But I have another yarn that I want to knit that I think, oh, come on. Can't stand it. pull up a picture, and if I try to zoom in, it like goes away. There we go. So that's the contrast sweater by Petite Knit. And the colors that I was doing the bolt sweater, bolt sweater in. Why is there a belt? I have a belt in my bag. You know, random things. I hadn't got very far, to be perfectly honest, because I knew it really wasn't a sweater. Here's my problem. I love the bolt sweater, but after I started knitting it, I realized I really want it in that graphic white and black, not in this and blue. So I will still knit the bolt sweater, which I don't have a picture of it, but it's by Maxim's here, and you can look it up on Ravelry. I will still knit the bolt sweater, but I will do so in basically that high graphic white and black. Be great in my wardrobe. Love it. And it's that edgy, funky thing. Like I have some black leather leggings like that would be awesome. But this, I'm thinking the contrast sweater could be really cute. But like I said, I have another yarn that I've been wanting to cast on that I think would be perfect for the contrast sweater. So this, and it's a basic sweater, but I don't think I need to. So the other thought for that yarn, where is it? That's the wrong weight, I think. I wouldn't do, it would just be one color. It wouldn't be in the two colors. It would be the Elizabeth blouse by Petite Knit. I do like that. And it's a sport weight. And of course, I was using the Ulysse by Joanne Natura, which would work perfectly. And there was something else. I guess I didn't save it to my favorites, but there was another shirt sweater thing that I was thinking of. But so that's going to be ripped out. I'm actually going to rip that out today. I'm going to rip out the MCal. And the other two yarns, I'm going to obviously save my yarns because it's all shades of gray. It'll be great. I'll use it in another either shawl or garment. Not a problem. I say rip it out. I'm actually not going to rip it out because it's all in pieces and I'm not going to put all those pieces back together. So there's that. I love it. The other thing I'm going to do, because y'all know I knit fast, for pieces that are for me, selfish pieces, I am not going to rush to get them done. That being said, obviously I have knit a lot on this, but it's also been on holiday and I just really enjoy knitting this yarn. I'm not going to rush any of my personal items to where I take any sort of corners or it's good enough. No, I'm going to make them to where they're perfect. And there may be a mistake in there or something like that. But, you know, if there's something really bad, I'm going to back it out and make it like it's supposed to. So just being a little more conscientious of my knits and making sure they're things I want to wear. Again, I'm totally knitting our traveler's shawl knit along, and I'll be participating in other knit alongs in the shop and all the fun things. But some of those are going to be separate from what I personally wear. And like, because there's a lot of things. Here's the thing. I love knitting all over color work. I love knitting, I'll say, complicated pieces, extravagant kind of knits, but I don't like to wear them. I like knitting with color. I love knitting with spin cycle. I don't wear those kind of things. It doesn't fit my style. I'm not comfortable when I'm wearing those things. So it doesn't make sense for me to wear them personally. I mean, for a photo on IG, you know, podcast, that sort of thing, that's fine. But my day-to-day style, the items I'll say that I keep at home that's not at the store, that's what I'm talking about. So making sure that my personal style really is that. And okay, I'm going to go on a little tangent because I have ladies come into the shop all the time that are, will pick out, they will like be drawn to a skein of yarn. They're like, oh, this is so beautiful. I love it. Blah, 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 blah. But this is the color I always pick, and everyone tells me I can't buy this color anymore. So I can't do that. I have to pick another color. I'll pick this. And then they buy this other color that somebody else told them they need to wear or use because they buy too much blue or green or whatever. And they don't end up liking, whatever it is that they picked because, well, I have to pick something outside my comfort zone. And like they get all like dejected about it. And it's like, I would say, if you love a color because you wear it all the time and it's your favorite color, who cares? That's like telling someone, that, I don't know, loves purple, that they can't buy purple anymore. That's weird. Telling me like, oh, you can't buy beige, which I've had a lot of people tell me that I should never wear beige and should never wear black and all the things. And I have to wear color. I don't feel good in color. I don't look good in certain colors. I'm not happy when I'm wearing those. I'm happy when I wear black. That's just it. So I think at the end of the day, now, if you want to set a goal for yourself, you know what? I do want to try adding a new color into my knitting. And I do wear a lot of, or knit with a lot of XYZ color. And it's like, I'm really like, I will do that. I will have phases, especially during the summer when it's summertime knitting. Like last year, I did a lot with the green palette. Really was drawn to a lot of greens. And so I knit with a lot of greens. Again, didn't end up wearing them. But it was a way for me to play around. It was my choice and everything else. So at the end of the day, don't let someone tell you, oh, well, you can't use that color. You can't buy that color anymore because you have too much of it. Let it become your signature thing. Like, that's my opinion. For the longest time, when I had a more corporate type job, I was known as the crazy lady that had a ton of weird and funky shoes. And I loved it. And then someone told me that was not professional and blah, 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 blah. And it kind of screwed up my whole thing. And I'm embracing that again. And it makes me feel so good. So don't let people control you, I guess. Wow, we're getting really philosophical here. So let's get back to some knitting content. So, if you take anything away from this, besides my rambling, knit what you love. That's the big thing. Knit what you love. Okay. I don't really have a lot of other. Oh, let me show you my Nordiska. Another belt. Okay. Oh, and then I'll show you that. So because I'm going to be knitting a lot of things that I will, don't let people rain on your parade. I like that. Stay true to your yarn aura. I love that. That's awesome. Stay true to your yarny self. So in true yarny self, I am knitting my Nordiska, which again, I'm knitting it for the second time. I love the pattern. So there's the start. I think like not very far away from splitting for sleeves, actually. Maybe like 16 rows. I need to double check my pattern. It's hard to tell here, but it's a V-neck. It has this beautiful cable detail for the raglan. And then at the bottom, it will have color work. And even though I don't wear a lot of color work, because it's just like at the bottom band, it's perfect. And it's going to be done in me colors. So I have Emma, this is all Le Garçon's BFL sock. So Emma Stone is the main body color. And then Vincent's Highland Coup and Moira's Black Rose, which stole that from the MCal yarn. It's going to be so good. So that's another piece that I'm working on slowly but surely. And because it's fingering weight, it's a little bit oversized. It's going to be great kind of transitional wear. And again, just because I'm knitting with a lot of more neutrals, because that's what I want to wear, doesn't mean I'm not going to knit with some fun stuff, because I'm going to knit another shift cowl. This was actually going to be my third that I'm going to knit. But first time going to do it in Spin Cycle. And I picked these fun colors because I love knitting with Spin Cycle. Just because I'm not going to wear it a lot doesn't mean I can't enjoy knitting with it. So I have Nostalgia, which we just got into the shop, which is great. You can't really see it very well on here, but Nostalgia. This is Midsummer, which we also have in stock right now. What is this? I can't remember what I picked. Excuse me. I can't read. Oh, Love Spell. I don't think we have Love Spell in the shop, but we have Ranunculus, which would be kind of similar. So yeah, that's going to be my shift cowl. And I'll probably start that. I might start it tonight. Might be my New Year's Eve cast on. So that's, see, I'm going to knit with color still. I'm going to knit with Spin Cycle. I'm going to knit with other fun things. I'm going to knit with fluff. I'm just still going to knit with lots of stuff. It doesn't mean I'm not going to knit with non-superwash yarn, although I knit with superwash yarn. My personal preference is to knit non-superwash, but I love a good hedgehog fiber speckle on superwash just as much as the next person. So, although I do have to show you, I'm going to spin this ever so slightly, and I'm going to show you my personal yarn stash, because I think partly you're going to be like, yes, that makes total sense. But then you're also going to be like, why do you have those colors? Bam. So as you can see, basically neutrals, lots of blues, and then a little bit of fun colors, greens and oranges and golds and even some pinks. Okay. So yes, I do own some pink, even though I'm very much anti-pink. I do have some. It's fine. You know, sometimes I need gift knitting, and I have 5 nieces, so I will knit with pink every now and then. Although more and more they don't like pink either, so we'll have to figure that out. But yes, I do love my personal yarn stash. I don't knit with it much, but I do knit with it every now and then. And like I was able to knit with it for my Lakes pullover, but then the exciting part is that we're going to be getting that yarn into the shop soon. So that's super fun. What else? That's all I can really think of. So do you guys have any questions? And if you don't have any questions, maybe put in the comments what you're inspired for, any sort of knitting goals or anything like that. I was talking with, while you guys are thinking and typing, I was chatting with Katie at the shop yesterday, and she had a goal. She's like, I'm finally going to finish some of my sweaters. So she started some beautiful sweaters this past year. And she was like, I'm bummed because I haven't worn them because they're not, totally finished yet. So we were talking with a couple other people, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, setting a goal for yourself doesn't have to be, oh, I'm going to knit, 10 sweaters this year or a pair of socks a month. You don't have to do that. It can be something as simple as, I'm just going to finish some of my whips that I really want. And sometimes it may be, I'm going to go through my WIP pile and I'm going to rip out a lot of things because I no longer want to knit them. That's fine too. Maybe you're in a season where it's like, I can't really buy any new yarn until I use up some of my stash. Okay, great. Watch the live videos that I share and think about it with your stash in mind. Obviously, I want to sell you yarn. That's my business. But at the same time, watch the videos for inspiration, watch this podcast, things like that, and get inspired to use maybe some of what you have, use it up, and be able to get some new stuff. What else? Oh, another lady, her thing was she was going to knit more for herself. She knits a lot of gifts for other people. She was going to knit more for herself. I thought that was great. Another lady she was going to, when the weather was appropriate here, but work on wearing a knitted item every single day. And I thought that was awesome. And so, that can maybe your goal, you knit a lot or crochet a lot, but you don't wear them. Well, okay, figure out maybe why it is that you're not wearing them. Is it too hot? Do you knit in, bulky weight yarn and you live here in Texas? Okay, well, maybe you should work on that. But, maybe it's just you knit all this stuff, but you never think about wearing it. Well, try wearing it, even if it's just around the house. I know one of our customers, I think she was saying she had like a chair or a couch or something like that in her bedroom, and she kept shawls draped on it. And instead of like a bathrobe in the morning, she would just wrap up in one of her shawls. She's like, I don't necessarily wear it out, but they get worn every day and I enjoy it and I remember it. And, she drinks her cup of coffee, she's wrapped up in her shawl and enjoys it. So it's a great way to incorporate your knits into your everyday life, even if you don't either get out very much or you don't wear your knitwear out and about. It's just a way to enjoy it still. So that's my little update. I don't think anyone has any questions per se, which is fine. Totally fine. So I hope you have enjoyed the podcast, this live podcast. My washing machine is dinging, so that means it's ready for switching over my loads. And I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to, I think, sit and knit for a bit. And it was great interacting with you guys. Would you guys be interested in more like live type YouTubes? I can't do it all the time, but maybe like once a quarter we could do a live type thing. It might be fun. It's fun to interact with you because just staring in front of the camera and filming a podcast isn't always the most fun. So if you enjoyed that, give us a thumbs up. And I'll see about incorporating more live videos we have our live Instagrams, of course, every Tuesday and Friday, but see about maybe more live YouTubes as well. So goal is to stay focused. Well, that's a great goal too, staying focused on your project to where you actually finish projects can really help you not feel super overwhelmed with your knitting, for sure. So thanks guys for tuning in, and I'll shut down the live stream here, but thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Remember, a new episode will be coming next week, so stay tuned and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Bye, guys.